Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Good morning, good afternoon to all of you, good evening. So, as we discussed last time, we finished a basic introduction to Vedanta. So by now we all are somewhat at the same level, at least minimum level as far as Vedanta is concerned. And we will continue to build on this. So today we would like to start the text formally, Tattvabodha. The source book of Vedanta is Upanishad. Upanishad is where Vedanta comes from. However, in our tradition, before studying Upanishads, we study texts that are written as a way to enter the Upanishads. So preparatory texts, if you want to call it. So these are technically in Sanskrit, these texts are called Prakarana Granthaha. Prakarana Grantha means a text that has been written by somebody to clarify, to use simpler words perhaps, to elaborate a little bit what is said in the Upanishads. The elaboration can take on many forms, but these are called Prakarana Granthas. So like that, all our acharyas have written, many acharyas have written books, and if any book is going to be written, that also will be called Prakarana Grantha. And if that book becomes a standard, then it will be called Prakarana Grantha. Any book will not be called one unless it becomes part of the tradition because of its beauty, because many acharyas have started using it. It will be called a Prakarana Grantha. So Tattvabodha is the text we are going to start today. Tattva, Bodha, it has two words. Bodha means knowledge. Buddhi, they all come from the same root in Sanskrit, meaning in the sense of knowledge. So Bodha means knowledge. So if somebody says knowledge, immediately you will ask, knowledge of what? Knowledge is a very general word. So knowledge of what? So knowledge of tattva. Tattvasya jnanam. Tattvasya bodha. Tattvabodha. Tattva means what? Tattva means truth. The literal meaning of tattva is truth. So here also we have a problem because truth means, and truth of what, you will ask. So now we have to interpret. We have to interpret based on what is there in the text. And so what is there in the text is analysis of realities. Realities of things in this world and realities of the self, or reality of the self. So if somebody, suppose I show this thing to you. So this is, what is this? This is a tumbler. This is a tumbler. Okay, good. Now, if you say this is a tumbler, then somebody will, the physicist Haim will raise his hand and say, no, it's not a tumbler. It is steel. It is steel, he will say. Okay, if he says it is steel, then who is correct? The guy who says tumbler is correct, or the guy who says steel is correct? Then we have to acknowledge both seem to be right. Both seem to be right. You can't say this is not tumbler, and you can't say this is not steel. But then if you analyze this tumbler, this tumbler had a date of birth. This tumbler had a date of birth. Let's say this tumbler was made some 5 years ago. It was purchased in a store, and maybe a few months before it came to the store, it was manufactured. So the tumbler was born 5 years ago. If we look at the steel behind it, was the steel also born 5 years ago? Then we will be constrained to say, no, the steel must have existed before the tumbler, for the tumbler to be born. So if you look at the lifespan, the steel existed for a longer time than the tumbler. In fact, we will say the steel is the one that gave birth to the tumbler. So that being the case, the reality of this tumbler, okay, this is tumbler, but hey, the steel is looking at me and saying, wait a minute, you're saying tumbler, you're ignoring me. I am the mother of this tumbler, and you are not even acknowledging my presence. That is what the steel will say. So the physicist doesn't see tumbler, he sees steel. And if you probe him a little more, you ask him, okay, so this is steel, that's it? And he will say, no, that is not it. That is not it. Because he doesn't see steel. He sees a mixture of some metals. He will say carbon and some other metals are there in this tumbler. Let's just say, for the sake of discussion, it is some metal. It's called, let's say it's a silver tumbler. It's just silver. Silver tumbler, silver plate. Some people do pujas in silver plates and tumblers. So silver. So he brought down this tumbler into silver. Then if you ask him further, he will say, no, I just use the word silver because you all understand silver. But really speaking, it is not silver. It is a bunch of atoms. Bunch of atoms. Atoms? Yes, atoms. It's all some minute atoms. You can't see with your eyes. You need a microscope to see it. You mean to say this entire thing that I'm able to see is all bunch of atoms? Yes, it's a bunch of atoms. bunch of invisible things have become visible to us. This is what he will say, which is the truth. You can't deny that. It's all a bunch of atoms, and he goes further. And he will say, today they will say more atoms, protons, neutrons, electrons, further broken down. And they go to quarks, and they go to, I don't know what, strings and this and that. They go on and on. So even the physicists will not stop with atoms. Atoms, because some people like me in school and college, we studied atoms, stopped with electrons. Beyond that, I didn't study anymore. But more beyond that. So Tattvam of this tumbler is what? That becomes a topic of Vedanta. From physics, it now shifts to Vedanta. Physics is still looking at this and developing some theories. And whatever particle they are talking about today, let's call it strings. And they have not stopped at it. They will also say, yeah, today it is strings, tomorrow it will be something different. But Vedanta looks at this topic. And why Vedanta is interested in something like this, something that falls in the realm of science, really should not be a topic of Vedanta. It becomes a topic of Vedanta because that tattvam of this tumbler, and the tattvam of myself, tattvam of this entire world, tattvam of Ishvara is all the same. Is all the same. Therefore, this becomes a beautiful topic for Vedanta, and it falls in our Shastram. Imagine, we call it Shastram, we worship it. Day before yesterday, we had this. Every year, those of us who have this sacred thread, they say thread ceremony. That is just a loose way of saying it. It is really a ceremony to reinforce our commitment to the Shastram. That is really what it is. We go through a whole range of motions. It goes on for 2 hours. Ritual. And finally, we do a homa, a fire ritual. And in this fire ritual, it's amazing. And I don't know how many people know this. A lot of people are sitting, and the Pandit is doing it for us. On our behalf, he is doing it. And he is doing it, and he's quietly chanting some mantras. And the other day, he didn't tell anything to us. And you know what mantras he's chanting? One mantra from the Upanishad he is chanting. 5 mantras. 4 mantras from 4 Upanishads. Then he switches to Purva Mimamsa, Athato Dharma Jignasa. Then he switches to Uttara Mimamsa, text of Vedavyasa, Athato Brahma Jignasa. Then he switches to Bhagavad Gita, Asochan Manma Sochastvam. Just one line he chants. Just one line. Then he switches to Ramayanam, he chants. Valmiki Munipungavam. Like that he says. So symbolically, it is reinforcing, it is saying we are all going to study the Shastram. Continue to study the Shastram. That is what it says. So that Shastram, the topic of that Shastram is the topic of Tattvabodha also. And which is what we will see as we study. And so this book happens to be a book of definitions. Q&A. Student asks a question, very interesting, the way it has been written. Student asks the question, teacher responds. Student asks the question, teacher responds. So like this, it goes on till the end. It's a bit like, so biology, somebody is learning biology. So biology means that person will know all about cells, for example. Cells. So we all studied cells. We drew nice, beautiful cell we drew. And then we labeled cell wall. Then cytoplasm, protoplasm. Nice, we used to have this as books where we are supposed to sketch all these things. Some people used to draw really well. And then nucleus is of course there in the side, in the middle. Whether it's really in the middle of the cell or it's also floating, I still have a doubt. I am not, it didn't strike me to ask the teacher, and now I'm getting all these questions. And maybe it is floating, we don't know. Because if it is in the center, then what anchors it in the center? All these questions are coming in my mind. So that biologist knows all these words. Knows all these words. Nucleus, some parts are there in the nucleus. Nucleotide, DNA, RNA, chromosome, all this we have studied. So these are all technical words which are the bread and butter of the biologist. Bread and butter. So like that, here is a book that is going to give us the bread and butter of Vedanta. So there won't be any elaborate discussion on anything, because it is just introducing a lot of words for us. And it's the responsibility of the teacher to clarify some of these things as we go along. And here, Swamiji tells us a beautiful story. See, if you look at Shankaracharya's works, Upadesha Sahasri, Kshamurti Stotram, you look at all these works, they're all there for 1,000 plus years. But Tattvabodha has not been studied like those other books for all these years. Not a traditional book. So he tells of a story where somebody comes to Swamiji and says, Swamiji, please teach me Bhagavad Gita in 10 days. And Swamiji says, what? Bhagavad Gita in 10 days? Yes, Swamiji, this is all the time I have. I'm going to America and I am going to give lectures on Bhagavad Gita. Just 10 days I have to talk, so you just teach me for 10 days. And Swamiji says, why? Study the entire Bhagavad Gita, I'll teach you. Shouldn't you know everything before you start even uttering one word of Bhagavad Gita? No, Swamiji, I don't have time. This person is from Fiji Islands, it seems. Fiji Islands, and he's wearing sannyasa, he's wearing ochre robes also. Kashaya Vastra he's wearing. And he got some sannyasa through mail. We get degrees through mail, right? Postal. So he got sannyasa, postal sannyasa. So finally, then he said, no, Swamiji, I'm in a hurry. I just have 10 days, that's it. So Swamiji was looking through his library of books and suddenly found this book. He never saw it before. He never taught it before. And he looked at it and he said, this text is small enough that I can teach in some 2 weeks. And that's how it started. And today a lot of people in Chinmaya Mission, they will teach it. In Ramakrishna Mission, they are teaching it. And so it has become a tradition now, because Swamiji started that tradition. And so that's how we are all studying it. And so let's start with this first verse, which is a prayer, prarthana, that the author of the book writes. So just what I'll do is I'll unmute just one of you so that I can get some feedback.
Yeah.
So just repeat after me. Vasudevendra Yogindram
Vasudeve Yogindram
Natva Jnanapradam Gurum.
Natva Pranam. Sorry, missed it. I just
Natva
Natva
Jnanapradam
Jnana Pradam
Gurum
Gurum
Mumukshunam
Mumukshunam
Hitarthaya
Hitarthaya
Tattvabodho
Tattvabodho
Vidhiyate.
Vidhiyate.
Is it Vidhiyate or Abhidhiyate?
It says Vidhiyate.
Vidhiyate. Okay, good. So this verse is a prayer, prarthana. The author is starting with a prayer. Why should he start with a prayer? Why should he or she? We still don't know he or she. Starting with a prayer. Just we have to imagine, we have to put ourselves some 100, 200, 300, 400 years back. And there was no computer. He doesn't open the laptop like this and opens Microsoft Word and starts typing. Not like that. So some palm leaf is there. We can't even imagine a palm leaf now. We've seen some pictures of it. And he's taking some ink, some sharp needle he's taking, and a stylus, and he's writing this. And he has something in his mind. And he has to write it. Whether he has written it down in a scratch paper somewhere, we don't know. So there's no paper there also. So he's writing this prayer. And the prayer is therefore it is for what? It is for this successful completion of this text that he's about to write. I don't know how they write also. Sometimes they say, I've seen pictures where they write like this with a stylus. And sometimes they write like this. It depends, because on a palm leaf, how you can simply write like this, I don't know. So it takes a lot of effort. It is not like going and typing 120 words a minute. It's not like that. So may I complete this work. It is true for anybody who writes anything, anytime. That prayer is very relevant. May I complete what I want to say. Even if you want to write an article, it must be completed. So when he's writing a book, he must be alive by the time he finishes the book. First prayer, may I complete the book. May you give me the capacity to have that same enthusiasm I have now. So I wrote a few verses and finally I decide, okay, this is taking a long time. And बाद में देखेंगे, we will see another time. Okay, possible. So may you give me that enthusiasm. May I be as enthusiastic anytime in the future as I am enthusiastic now. Give me that viryam. Number 3. Again, we must we should take ourselves so many centuries back. This palm leaf can be eaten by any animal which eats leaves. They used to use the word aja bhakshita. Aja bhakshita. Aja means goat. This goat will eat anything. Even paper it will eat. Cows also can eat any of these things. So those days, aja bhakshita. Risk of being eaten by any animal. Okay, no, I have a nice secure place. This hut I have, this little thing I have is pretty secure. Animals don't enter. And in any case, the door is so small, the cow cannot enter. So, so then there is another problem. Kita Bhakshita is there. All these insects are there. They're all waiting. I don't know how they come. They're all there. They're all there. So, Kita Bhakshita, may this text not be consumed by these biological species. And today also, then we must add some other things like we must add Agni Bhakshita. Today means even those days, Agni Bhakshita. It can be consumed by fire. And fire, either the fire consumes the book while I am writing it, or the fire can consume the book later on, willfully or accidentally. Willfully, this guy Khilji looked at this library, Nalanda University, huge university those days, millennium ago, when people were still learning to read and write. We had a huge university, huge library. So he asked his people, "What is this?" "Maharaj, this is a Mahavidyalaya." "What is Mahavidyalaya?" "Oh, people from all over the world are coming and studying so many subjects." "What are they studying?" "Oh, various subjects they're studying: mathematics, physics, astronomy, all these things they're studying." "Are they studying about Allah?" "No, they're not studying about Allah." "Oh, then this is useless. Come on, burn it." Bus. Burnt. The whole Nalanda burnt. Library, huge library, burnt. And they say this library burnt for one article I read 6 months. In another article I read 3 months. For months it was burning. So prayer, need a prayer. May books not be burnt. May this book not be burnt. So, and today we must add more. We must add all these disk crashes, because we are all typing in on the laptop, and one day you open the laptop and you see a blue screen. And you see a blue screen, you are writing a book, and you will stare at the blue screen, because how many months of work. And this very over enthusiastic author doesn't know what a backup is, and no backup exists. Only backup is here, and he simply stares at the screen. So, prayer needed before writing anything. And another reason for prayer is, hey, what is the use of writing this book? It must reach the hands of people for whom the book is intended. So, there also prayer. May it serve its purpose. And so, this also demonstrates a tradition in our Shastram. This tradition is there. We start every class itself with a prayer. What is the question of not starting a big work with a prayer? So that's typically the tradition. And there is no rule that you must write a prarthana before you write anything. There's no rule like that. But we see all our acharyas doing it. Shankaracharya writes a commentary of Taittiriya Upanishads. He writes a prayer which goes on for 3-4 verses. So look at that. They are writing 5 verses which are not part of the text, which are just a prayer. So that's how they were. So prayer. And the fact that you and I are studying this today shows that the prayer has worked. The prayer has worked. And so now we're going to study what this prayer is. The prayer is to Ishvara. And in our culture, the Guru is not different from Ishvara. You know that very well. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu. We've been chanting this. Therefore, an offering of a prayer to one's teacher, one's Guru, is as good as a prayer to Ishvara, Parameshwara, Bhagavan. So here he says, he offers us, it appears that he is offering his prayer to his Guru. Vasudevendra Yogindram, he says. So vidhiyate. So let's start with the verb. Generally in Sanskrit, when you want to, there is a sentence, and it's not in English, not like in English where the format is well understood. My daughter started going to school today. So you kind of know where the verb is going, right in the middle. But in Sanskrit, it's not like that. The verb can be anywhere in the sentence. The subject can be anywhere in the sentence. Adjective can be anywhere in the sentence. Prepositions can be anywhere in the sentence. And so it's a beauty of Sanskrit also. So here we have to, here the verb is right at the end. Vidhiyate. That is the verb. Vidhiyate. So vidhiyate means it's written in passive voice. Is described. Is presented. Is taught. Is told. Is written. Vidhiyate. So look at that. Another tradition here. Little bit, another tradition. He doesn't say, I am presenting. He doesn't say, I am presenting. He's so shy of saying I. He doesn't want, because he knows, hey, this knowledge really doesn't belong to me. I feel like writing. That's all he can say. And so he says, Tattvabodha is presented, he says. He doesn't say who writes it. He quietly doesn't even say who, he doesn't even go near authorship. So vidhiyate. So then vidhiyate means presented. What was presented? So he says very clearly. Tattvabodho vidhiyate. Tattvabodha is presented. Tattvabodha is presented. But then he says one more thing. Presented after something. Natva. Natva is another, you can say verb. After worshipping. After saluting. After bowing down to. After bowing down to. After bowing down to whom? There also he says. Gurum. Many words he uses. Many adjectives he uses to Guru. So Guru. So Guru means my Guru. The word my is implied here. So I say after saluting my Guru. And what kind of Guru? He says all that here. Vasudevendra Yogindram. Vasudevendra Yogindram. So in our tradition, so the acharyas of various mathas have certain names. So if you look at Kanchi Math, today's acharya, so Vijayendra Saraswati. Before him, Jayendra Saraswati. Before him, Chandrasekharendra Saraswati. Okay. So Indra Saraswati is the appellation given to the acharyas of that matha, Kanchi Matha. Sringeri Matha likewise. Bharati Tirtha, they will say. Bharati Tirtha means you automatically know which matha they are from, which ashrama they are from. So if you go by that tradition, then the Swamijis interpret this as most likely the author is from the tradition of Kanchi Matha. This is one interpretation. It need not be correct. We don't know yet. There is not enough. Somebody has to do research to find out. But this is the way Swamiji interprets it. So, Vasudevendra. So, Vasudeva means the one in whom everything resides, the one in whom all knowledge resides. Vasudevendra, Vasu itself means that, Vasudeva. Indra, so the most exalted of all the Vasudevas. Yogi Indram, so he is a yogi also, he says. Yogi means in this case, because he is writing a book of knowledge, he is a jnana yogi. Because yogi is such a common word and can mean so many things. One who can stand on one foot for days on can also be called a yogi. But here the yogi refers to the one who is an embodiment of knowledge. And Yogi Indram, the most exalted, the expert among all the yogis, Yogi Indram. So he is giving now Yogi Indram, and he also says one more thing. Jnana Pradam. So what kind of guru he is? He is a Jnana Pradam guru. One who gives knowledge. Gives knowledge. Jnana Pradam. So Jnana Dam itself will mean one who gives knowledge. Da. To give. Dena. The da comes from Sanskrit. Da dhatu. Donate. Donate. Da dhatu. Look at that. English deriving from Sanskrit. Donor. This do comes from da. So he says Jnana Pradam. He doesn't say Jnana Dam. Jnana Dam also would have been perfectly fine. Pradam Prakarshena Dadati. He gives with no restrictions. He gives boundlessly. He doesn't hold on to anything. He just gives whatever he has. He doesn't look at the students and say, no, these people don't deserve so much. So I'm not going to, they won't understand this next thing. So I will not teach them. Nothing like that. He just gives. So Jnana Pradam. And also the knowledge, if you look at it, the knowledge is about the whole. Knowledge leaves, it says you are the whole, you lack nothing. So even from that perspective, Jnana Pradam, he gives everything. The topic is like that. And we've seen before, any other topic, you cannot, no teacher can give the whole. No teacher can give everything. Because there is a point at which the teacher also has to say, I don't know. Research is going on. Research must be going on. Maybe the teacher will say, I don't know if research is going on also. Even to know if research is going on, you must know. So, a lot of don't knows will be there. So here it's not like that. Final word is being said and Jnana Pradam. That is the word the author uses for his teacher, for his guru. Okay. So, what is being done? Presented. What is being presented? Tattvabodha is being presented. After doing what? After saluting his or her guru. So now he also tells next. Who am I? Who is this book for? He says that. Now next. So he says, Hitarthaya. Hitam means, Hitarthaya means for the benefit of. For the benefit of. He's going to say who and all that later. So for the benefit of. Hitam. Hitam means what is good for me. What is beneficial to me is hitam. What is beneficial? So somebody comes, somebody visits you, knocks on the door, and you see your friend, and he comes, and he says, hi, he says, and then you punch him on his face. Ahitam. Ahitam, not beneficial. Ahitam. Or you pour some hot water on him. Ahitam. But then he has traveled so many miles. He's come from Mumbai to Chennai. It's long by train that too. It goes on and on and on and on. Keeps on going the train. We don't know when the train stops. And he's come, it's so late in the night, and he doesn't have food in the train because he's so conscious about all this food and all that. And so he's probably been drinking some water and whatnot. Some chapati, roti he packed at home 2 days ago. He's been eating. So he comes home and you say, come on, wash your hands. Come, go here, wash your hands. And he comes and you offer him a nice thali of hot food. So hitam, just what he needs. Beneficial. So anything like that is called hitam. So for the benefit of whom? He says that very clearly here. Mumukshunam hitarthaya. So he's made it very clear. Mumukshunam, those who are mumukshus, those who are seeking moksha. So there are words in Sanskrit which sound like this. Bubukshu. Bubukshu means one who is hungry. One who wants bhiksha is called a bubukshu. Then there is a chikirshu. Chikirshu, one who wants to do anything, desires to do something is called a chikirshu. Then there is jignasu. You've heard the word jignasu. One who desires to know a particular subject is called a jignasu. So like that here he uses the word mumukshu. Mumukshu, one who desires moksha is a mumukshu. Okay, so that's the audience. He's also telling you it's the audience. So he says, if you want to learn programming Java, don't come to this book. If you want to learn some astrology or palmistry, don't come to this book. Very clear. Right in the beginning, he's saying what it is. So there is no confusion. So it's in a way, it's like writing the preface. Now here also in books will have preface. So everybody looks at you're at the railway station or the airport, and there is a bookstall that you found yourself in front of, and you look at all these books, and something attracts your eye, and you leaf through the pages, and you look at the table of contents, and then if you have time, you look at the preface, and you look at the back. Who is this author? Never heard of him. He went to which university, this, that, and where did you do? And okay, so some idea about the author, because you can't read the book before deciding whether to buy the book. So you have to, these are the things we do. We look at the preface, what is he writing about, and etc. Then you make a decision whether to read this book. So this is not a preface per se, but at least he's giving you in one word what is the topic. So moksha pradhana vishaya. So that is what he's mentioning here. So see, those days there were mathas, and the mathas had scholars who used to assess all these works people were writing. And they will say whether this is a useful book or, not. And they used to have these things. And even before that, there is something where the author justifies why he or she is writing a book, writing anything. So this justification is also formally said. They have to talk about 4 things. The first thing is, what is the topic you are writing about? Vishaya. Vishaya is the first thing. Vishaya. Okay, Vishaya is there. Then what is the purpose? What is the prayojanam? What is the use? इसका मतलब क्या है? Okay, having studied this, what am I going to get? That is Vishaya. I mean, that is prayojanam. Then, if I study this Vishaya, then you are saying I will get prayojanam. What is the connection between those two? Explain to me how that sambandha is there between the Vishaya and the prayojanam. And the fourth one is, who is it meant for? Who would be a student qualified to study this subject? In Sanskrit, we call it adhikari. So, Vishaya, prayojanam, sambandha, adhikari. These have to be explained by the author. And if the author doesn't fully explain it, and if the book happens to be really good, then the people who study the book and who write commentaries will explain it. Okay? Understood? So that's how it works. So here the author has written Vishaya is there. By using the word mumukshu, he is saying two things. He is saying who is an adhikari, who is a qualified person, and he is also telling what is the topic Vishaya. Moksha is the topic, mumukshu is the adhikari. One who is seeking moksha. And he is going to explain more later also. And the connection is, what kind of connection it is? Why am I studying a book to get moksha? I thought moksha you have to do something else. Then the Shastram says, so do I have to study Vedanta? Do I have to understand Sanskrit for this moksha Shastram? No, the answer is no. Sanskrit is a means. We study Sanskrit so we can study the Vedanta texts, so we can understand, we can gain moksha. Also, since we have now studied the fundamental problem, now that we know that this ajnanam is the cause of samsara, and ajnana nivritti, removal of ajnanam is the solution to this samsara, then that removal happens in the form of words coming from the Shastram. And so that Shastram is what we are studying. And so, like the words of somebody, the words of a daughter reveals to this father that that father is the possessor of the glasses that he was seeking. Likewise, this Shastram, this Tattvabodha reveals to me my nature. So Tattvabodha reveals, and the revealed, what is revealed is the jnanam, and what is revealed is also the prayojanam. Prayojanam, moksha is a prayojanam, because knowledge is moksha. In our case, in this peculiar subject matter, knowledge is moksha. Jnanam is moksha. So that's the connection between this Vishaya and prayojanam. Revealed or revealer, revealed. One reveals, and what is revealed is the prayojanam. Is what the adhikari is seeking. So just some technicality around why somebody writes a book, why somebody should write a book. So since the author follows the same methodology, we understand it is called coming from the Upanishad. Same analysis was done by our acharyas thousands of years ago, and this our author here, who now we don't know the name of the author. See how amazing it is. See, today we go to Facebook and we put pictures, we write and write. I did this morning, and I take a picture of the flower and I post it, and such a beautiful day it was today, and everybody likes it, and so this we have to show who we are. We have to keep on telling everybody, the entire world, what I'm doing every minute. And this I did this, I did that, I studied this, I went there. So this I is very much present. Those days it was exactly the opposite. Those days they are writing books and we don't know who wrote those books. And so it is, in a way, it's a problem for us also, because wonderful books are there and we don't know who wrote those books. So that's a different problem. But the attitude we learn from that is this, telling that the author here is so shy. He doesn't even say, I'm writing this book. Even he doesn't use the word I. And definitely we don't know who the author is. We can only say there was probably a Kanchi Mata. Some time ago, there was a Vijayendra Saraswati or Vasudevendra Saraswati, sorry. And he must have had a student, he or a she. And even we don't know whether the Guru was a he or a she. So these words don't say all that. And she must have written this. That's all we can say so far. So now the author is explaining some more about who the qualified person is. So let us chant this next. It's not a verse anymore. This is a prose. This textbook is prose. It's not in poem form. So just repeat after me. I will unmute one of you. I unmuted Swapna ji. Sadhana chatushtaya okay. Yeah, I tried to unmute, but somehow it didn't work. Swapna ji, can you unmute yourself? Okay, it's not so it's not working. Okay, all right. If I unmute everybody, what happens is it creates a lot of interference. So I unmuted him now. Sadhana chatushtaya sampannadhikarinam moksha sadhana bhutam Tattvabodha prakaram vakshyamaha. So he is here explaining, giving a little more detail about this topic, and in particular who is qualified. So now is probably a good time to pause this class, and we can continue the next class with this introduction to Tattvabodha. So we'll pause now, and before I forget, I will. There was a question by email. This Aniji had written, so we will. So his question was. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. Krishna is looked upon as a Jagat Guru. And at the same time, here we say Dakshinamurti is a teacher. We look upon Lord Shiva as a teacher. So, yeah, so it happens like that. So it shows that, number one, the Acharya, the Guru is not different from Ishvara. Okay, that is what it shows. Number two, anybody can be a Guru. Vishnu also can take the form of a Guru, like Krishna. And Shiva also can take a form of a Guru. So therefore, nobody can argue now. Nobody can say, oh, my Shiva is bigger than your Vishnu. This argument cannot come. Or Shiva taught Vishnu. Your Vishnu was ignorant. Thank my God so that Krishna became enlightened. This kind of argument we can't have. So I'm very happy that Krishna also was Jagadguru and Dakshinamurti also is Jagadguru. I'm very happy. So this argument, otherwise we'll get into this argument. So it stops all these things. So yeah. So Krishna, very interesting. Krishna has so much leela. He's always playing and laughing and smiling and doing some mischief for the other. And suddenly he becomes a teacher. It's a very odd thing for Krishna to do, at least in my mind. Being a teacher, sitting in one place and teaching, come on, this is. But Krishna didn't teach. He chose the battlefield to teach. So this is all Krishna's leela. So yeah, no problem. Anybody can teach. Krishna is a Jagat Guru. Jagat Guru because not because it's Krishna, because of the topic. Remember that. Because of the topic. So if we don't understand the topic, we will think of something else. Oh, Krishna is the world's greatest teacher. Like that, we will get sidetracked. Because the topic is such. The problem is a universal problem. Therefore, the subject matter is universal. Therefore, he can teach anybody. And therefore, he is Jagat. So that's a way to look at all these things. And Dakshinamurti is, of course, when Shiva takes on the role of a teacher, then we call him Dakshinamurti, and we saw the meaning of Dakshinamurti and all before. So that was the main question he had. And so specializations, yeah, so we have all these wonderful devatas. And when I grew up, I used to like Hanuman very much. And inspired by Hanuman, nobody will say, come on, how can you worship Hanuman? You have to worship. Hanuman himself is worshipping Rama. So how can you should worship Rama, not Hanuman. Nobody said those kinds of things. This kind of thinking doesn't exist in our culture. So we are so blessed with so many different forms. You can take the form that you like, which is what they call Ishta Devata. Wonderful Ishta Devata. And we can have our own Ishta Devata and we can worship for as long as we want, in any way we want. And we can chant whole day long. We can chant Vishnu Sahasranamam. We can chant Lalita Sahasranamam. We can chant Upanishad. We can do anything we want. So like this, these Visheshas are there. And so it's a blessing for us and doesn't create any conflict at all. So I'll stop that there and see if you guys have any questions. Yeah, go ahead, Vishnu.
Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Actually, today we are mentioning about Prakarana Granthas. So apart from Tattvabodha, what are other Prakarana Granthas that we can know about? This was my doubt.
Yeah, can you repeat the last question? We can't hear you properly.
Oh, am I audible? Hello?
Little better now.
Yeah, actually you asked about, you were telling about Prakarana Granthas, that Tattvabodha is a Prakarana Grantha. So what are the other Prakarana Granthas that are available? Just I was curious to know.
Yeah, so Prakarana Grantha is is any text which is not Upanishad. Okay, that's one way to look at it. So the main Prakarana Granthas in Advaita Vedanta would be Yeah. So the main Prakarana Granthas would be Bhagavad Gita
Oh, okay.
and Brahma Sutra. So in Advaita, in the teaching tradition of Advaita, these three texts, so Upanishads, which is Shastram, then there is Bhagavad Gita and Brahma Sutram written by Vedavyasa.
Very good.
These three are commonly called as Prasthana Trayi because they are so important. The two are Prakarana Granthas, all right. So Bhagavad Gita and Brahma Sutra. But this combination has a special word. It's called Prasthana Trayi. And after that, other books are also studied. So we will study something called. So we will pick up a text. Shankaracharya's texts are all picked up. So Upadesha Sahasri is written. We will pick up that. Then Dakshinamurti Stotram is there. Prakarana Grantha, we will study that. Then Vidyaranya Muni is there. 400, 500 years ago, I think he lived. He was the one who started the Vijayanagaram Empire.
Yeah.
But before he started this empire, he was a big scholar. And he has written so many books. And we study one of those books called Panchadashi.
Panchadashi. Yeah.
That's a Prakarana Grantha.
Oh, that's okay.
Then in our own life, we had Ramana Maharshi. So Ramana Maharshi's books are there. So we study, Swamiji has been teaching Upadesha Saram. So it's another text, a small text of some maybe 30 verses, which talks about the same Shastram, what Shastram talks about in a very beautiful way, in a poetic way. And so like this, we have so many texts, and these are called Prakarana Granthas. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, good. So we will pause with that. Om Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahisha Go Brahmanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyah Prithvi Sasya Shalini Desho Yam Kshobarahitah Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amritangamaya Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om